And so I think that what we have to look forward to in FY13, and it has certainly been an exhausting struggle for me to get us to this level. It has not been easy, because in many respects we're still working harder, we're not working smarter, and decisions that were made in the past were not made in a manner that would allow for us to grow with our reporting and with our finances in a way that I think is appropriate and necessary.
So just to interrupt, the budget you have here, as Kenny asked, this is kind of a wish list, I guess, correct? It's not realistic that we're going to be able to spend 7.79% more this year than we did last year.
No, because if we're looking at where we stand in relationship to revenue, I think revenue is moderate. I don't think we can expect any more from the state than what we currently got in the governor's numbers. I expect a 2.5% increase, approximately 680 to 700,000 in property tax additional revenue. But again, the drivers that we're talking about.
No, I know, but I'm just saying at some point, and I think that it kind of flows into what Kevin was asking, at some point we have to start making some hard decisions here as to what our priorities are.
And those will be made after we go through the review process with the the finance committee. We're going to meet with the school committee, school department, and give them what we think is a number that we can live with from a financial perspective. And hopefully we can get to a balanced budget in due time. We did it last year, so I don't anticipate that we're going to have a problem doing it this year. The hard choices and hard decisions will be made.
Do you have certain priorities that you want? You were just talking about reporting.
If I could talk about priorities, I think that's a good idea. I think that additional employee if we could afford additional hires in the FY13 budget, I would say that those hires will come in the area of highway and possibly including police department. If I look at all of the data that I am receiving from people who are responding to surveys for the police department, visibility is probably the most significant area where people don't see enough police officers in their neighborhood. And if they don't see them, and they can't see them in their neighborhoods, the fear of crime increases. And so, and that's just from my experiences serving as a police commissioner in Springfield and as my experiences as a town manager. So there is a higher fear of crime. Whether it actually exists or not, it's the perception that drives this. When you don't see the officers on a readily available, consistent basis, that's an issue. And that's what we're getting back for data from average citizens who are, filling out surveys and questionnaires that come in. So that's a priority from a hiring perspective, and those are the two areas that I think that we could use a number of new bodies or employees. How do we get there? We have instituted the healthcare mandates. The board took a vote on December 19th to accept the statute 21 through 23. And at that point, we entered into negotiations. We are currently in negotiations. We have a 30-day window under the PEC format. The state has been notified of this timeline. We will be providing the state with the information that they are requesting to ensure that in the end of that 30-day period, we will either have an agreement in place that will be an agreement under 150E, which is outside of plan design, or actual plan design. And those changes in and of themselves are very difficult decisions that the union members are going to have to make. There'll be a significant out-of-pocket cost increase with the plan design changes that we have proposed, which are the GIC mirror plans through Mayflower. And I do say, and I have to say this because I think it needs to be said, Mayflower as a health group provides us with the best opportunity to control our costs locally without having to go to the GIC. However, if we end up with plan design changes this year, that our next approach potentially could be to go to the GIC within the next 3 years if we end up with plan design. However, if we do not end up with plan design and we have a deal that we can strike that is a little different than plan design, as currently proposed, then I think that we would be willing to take some time, reevaluate over the next couple of years, 3 years or so, and then take a look at some incremental adjustments to plan design over the next 3+ years, the 4th year, 5th year, and 6th year. So there are some opportunities for further savings down the road, but that we're looking at saving a good amount of money outside of 150E. I've shared all that information with the unions. The discussions have been productive. So I don't have anything further to report on that front, but that's one area where we should see additional savings. In addition to that, in FY14, there's a projected amount of savings with the trash program of anywhere between $100,000 to $160,000, if not more.
But if something's not done with that health insurance piece, again, you're gonna have to make a decision whether or not you're gonna build that into the budget or not build it into the budget, those savings, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to know that until the end of March. And that brings us to the issue that
Again,
Kevin was
if that's the
asking.
case, then it's gonna be kind of difficult to.
Yeah, that's why I'm not saying that we're going to be ready for the 2nd of April, but we should be ready by the middle to the end of April.
But either way, you have a decent idea of, you're gonna be saving hundreds of thousands.
Yes. That's what we anticipate.
Okay. Does
Now-
anybody have anything else?
Is there any other questions?
No, just your priorities are. to
My
hire back
priorities
highway,
I've given, yes,
and-
are exactly what I have
Police
indicated to you. Absolutely. I do have debt, and I want to go over that because it's going to give us some good news, and it's going to give us some bad news. Okay. Okay, if I can, talk a little bit about where we stand with some of our debt. Now, this is a condensed table.
Yeah, I'd say it is. I don't want to admit I'm getting old, but I can't see it.
Well, we go out to 2025, but we've decided to take us to FY13 at this point with some proposals here. FY13 will be the last year for Griffin's Dairy. The town hall and library refunding will be completely paid up in FY13, $276,000. Police station, I have a little ways to go, I believe, with the police station. In FY13, the police station will have a balance principal payment of $4,380,000, interest of $205,000, Principal and interest fee is the difference between that, which is for a total of 525, including the 205. Do you all see how that's being reported? But we're looking at FY16 for a total maturity for the town hall library. We're looking at FY27 for the police station and FY28 for the fire station. So I'll probably be in a grave somewhere at 2028.
The Woodsdale windows, that we haven't started paying those yet?
No. We're short-term borrowing on that. The ECC roof debt exclusion start FY11, and it will finish in FY17. And the high school windows and doors has a maturity of FY28. Sewer, there's some sewer debt coming off in 13. Some additional sewer debt coming off in 17, I'm sorry. Water debt coming off in 13. Remember I said 13 was a big year in which there was a lot of debt that was coming off. Now you know where that debt is coming from. And then you've got the water, you got some long-term water debt that'll come off in FY 26, 29, and 31. If I'm still around in 31, shoot me. Then, of course, we're short-term borrowing on Groveland Street, as we'd indicated, the Woodsdale windows, and proposed memorial arch. None of that has actually gone to any type of long-term borrowing. We're hoping to pay off the arch, the school, the Woodsdale School, and the Groveland through short-term bans, even though the Woodsdale was debt excluded. Remember, the Groveland Street and the Memorial Arch were not debt excluded. So that's coming from within the budget. And so when we look at, can we afford to take more, if we decide not to debt exclude the study, we have to borrow the 800,000, although we're not going to nearly borrow that. It's going to be something less than, it's going to be 300 and some odd thousand. The question becomes, with Groveland Street and the Arch, which is 400, the Arch is 300,000, and and Groveland Street is 171.7. Can the town at that point afford an additional 375, 380,000? That brings us close to $1 million. I don't want to be in a situation where we'll have to go back to the residents and say, hey, you know what, we should have really debt excluded these from the beginning. So we have to be very cautious, and my recommendation at this point would be to debt exclude the study and pay it off, so it gives us some room, still some room within the operating budget to continue with, paying off the Groveland Street and Memorial Arch from within the budget. And that's a snapshot of where we are presently.
Anything? No. Thank you, John. A lot of work.
Well, and I'd like to recognize the finance team members who have really put a lot of time and effort above and beyond their jobs, including Dory and Leo and Jack. We are in transition as far as a financial officer, a town accountant is concerned. And so it's been a shared burden on most of us, and we've had some good input and help from Barbara Haig, who's our temporary town accountant, and she's done a decent job pulling and putting together all of this information. We are a little late on our revenue projections because of the, temporary situation that we have. So that's another issue that we have to work through at this point. But, we anticipated it because we made the decision that we made at that point, so.
When are you gonna start the actual search for new?
We have sent out the proposed job description. We're going to review that this week, begin the ad process. We've already set up a team of people who are going to work on the interview process. We have a member from the Finance Committee, and I was going to ask if there was a member of the Board of Selectmen that was interested in serving on that committee to appoint the new town accountant. Obviously, I recognize that that is the town manager's provision. It's his duty and responsibility, and I will make the obvious decision. I'd like to do that collectively, which has been my approach to management. I want to be more collaborative and open. So I have asked a member of the Finance Committee to serve as well in the screening process and the interview process and the selection process. And I would do the same with the Board of Selectmen. If there's anyone that's interested, speak to the chairman. We'll get you appointed and get that committee going.
All right. Any other questions about the budget? Okay, if not, I would like to move on to the town manager's goals and objectives. I received proposed goals and objectives from all the selectmen. Ended up with quite a few of them. Some of them are redundant. Some of them are a little vague. So what I would like to do, what I propose is that we form a subcommittee to discuss with the town manager what our priorities are and whittle this list down to a workable list. Would anybody care to be on the subcommittee? I don't have
Wait a
to.
minute, wait. I don't mind creating a subcommittee, but I don't think it's going to be the authority of the subcommittee to determine what the goals and objectives are. I think that rightfully belongs with the full board.
Sure.
I think if you want to, put out a list that all of us can look at, and if you want us to rate them, I don't care how you do it.
That's how we did in the past, actually.
Yeah, I think I would prefer that rather than just have a subcommittee meet and make a determination. I mean,
No, I think-
obviously, I guess I'm just concerned, from my perspective, I only had two.
Yeah.
And, were the Griffin's Dairy and the Memorial Arch. Now, I wouldn't want to see those get kicked to the wayside because, you want to whittle the thing down.
Yeah,
So
no,
that's-
what I can do is, I want to get rid of some of the redundant ones. Everyone here has equal say, okay? But some were vague, and what I want to do is I'll be talking to the committee members about what they mean specifically
Okay.
when they mean, it's,
Yeah.
okay? I'd rather not take all 40-something proposed ones and go through them
Oh, yeah.
here, it's-
No, I
So-
agree. I just want further clarification.
Yeah, I understand, okay. There was more, and plus, some of them came in this weekend, didn't really have a
That's
chance
fine.
to digest them, so I would rather table the discussion, pending a little more review of these
That's fine.
goals and objectives. So, we're gonna table that discussion.
And I think you need to, my opinion at least, I think you need to sit with the town
And we will.
manager too, because he's got to buy into what these are. So he's got to have some input at least as to.
Yeah,
what-
absolutely.
He has to agree to them, too. I mean, we
We
could,
can't put forth things that are impossible to attain.
Of
That's
course.
not
Yeah.
necessary. If you're gonna go with the committee, I'd serve on it, but I don't know what you.
I don't have to be in the committee. If Mike would wanna be in the committee, Kenny, would you wanna be in the committee, Kevin? Anybody?
Well, wait, why don't we, can't we go back and, if you feel as though something's redundant, if you individually want to talk to whoever submitted it, and, if you want to rehash it with that individual selectman, and if whoever offered it wants to do whatever it is, I have no idea what you're talking about, and then you want to come in with a refined list, and then pass it back out to the five of us, and if we want to say, look, based on you know, my understanding, these are my Kevin Donovan's priorities. And then if you people, you know, want to develop something and then get down to a list and have yourself and the vice chairman meet with the town manager, find it dandy, but, you know.
Or Mike?
I,
No, if you want to do it, I really think the final list, Kevin, I don't know where you're going with that, it should be something that Mr. D'Agostino.
I agree, but I think the final list should be the final list as determined by the entire board of
So I agree with
selectmen.
that.
Yeah, it will be.
It's how we're getting there, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't mind that, and I don't have no issue with that. I just want to make sure that whatever is finally decided, it's, the entire board has made that
Yep.
determination. And I agree wholeheartedly that you should discuss with John, from an administrative standpoint, what is fact from fiction, fish from fowl, so that we know what we're talking about, and then come in with a revised list for the entire board to vote on. That's all. How you get there, I
Yeah.
don't care. I
Sounds like you do.
well, I do in the fact that I want to make sure that we're putting forward attainable goals that are realistic
That's
goals.
the point.
That's right.
That's exactly what I'm
And that
trying
have
to
been
do.
voted on by the entire board.
So there's just
And that's how we've done it in
some
the
of the, all I want to do is, some of the goals are vague.
Mhm.
They're just vague, okay? So I'll talk to the individual selectmen, because, you know, like I said, everyone has an equal say in this.
Mhm.
I just want to make sure that these goals and objectives are particular in nature and they're obtainable, okay? Some stuff is pertaining to public safety, strong chief act, stuff like that. Some of it might not even be within our scope. So what I want to do is go through
All
it.
right, that be the case, I definitely want to see this.
Yeah, well, okay, so, anyway, we're going to table the discussion, if that's okay.
You're
Yeah.
doing a
Why don't
pretty
you,
good job going
why
on
would you
with
table it?
it
Why
now.
don't you just, you're gonna table it, why don't you just do it one way or the other? Just either you put a committee together or
Well,
talk
you
to
do-
John
or you
or
go
come
through-
back,
I'm
come
gonna-
back. If you table it, it's gonna go, I mean, I think we just.
I'm going to have
Needs to be-
I'm going to speak to a couple selectmen
All right.
about the list, and we're going to take it from there. And I'm going to get it on the agenda, it'll be on the agenda for March 12th.
Okay, because it does need to be done.
I know,
But we'll be in June, and they'll only have 6 months to attain a year's worth of objectives.
well, that's how it was last
Fair.
year,
Yeah,
pretty much,
yeah.
you know?
It hasn't stopped us before.
Hmm?
It hasn't stopped us before. I think we've achieved most of
Oh,
it.
we- I
Yeah,
know, but it's just
exactly.
It's something that we should probably try to tighten up every year, just.
Okay, okay, all right. We'll get on that. All right, that's it for town manager's goals and objectives. Selectmen, old and new business, does anybody have any?
The personnel bylaw,
You have gotten it, haven't we given it you a copy?
oh yeah, I have it, but I had asked it to get put on the agenda for this meeting, but it didn't make it, so.
Well, we talked about that, but we figured the next meeting, when you're setting, it's gonna be an article in the warrant, so it's while you're reviewing the warrant.
Okay.
That's what
Is
we,
that, yeah, I mean, nothing, we had sent,
Well, my thought, if I may,
Yeah.
my thought was that the revisions have been made, and that we're gonna invite everybody in,
yep,
employees,
exactly.
whatever, to come in and if they wanna speak or whatever, and let them have
Right.
that opportunity.
That's exactly right.
So that's gonna take place at the next
At
meeting?
the next meeting,
Okay.
yes.
actually, we had sent it out to boards and committees.
Yeah.
Received one response,
No, you sent it out? Great.
one response. And the response was from, I can tell you it was from somebody who didn't get up at town meeting and speak against it. But we didn't hear from those who,
Just as long
Spoke
as
out against
it gets on the agenda, that's fine.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Anything else, old, new business? Kenny?
I'm not sure if John has applied for this grant, if you're looking into that grant for the arch. There's a grant, deadline is March 30th, and it's a state-funded 50% reimbursable matching grant program. And I have all the information
is that
there.
from the historic?
They are involved in it, but it's mostly done through you, I think, or from the grant writer or whoever we wanted to use. But I mean, 50% up to $100,000. So, I mean, that'd be,
Yeah, I don't know if, I think that require, well, I have to look at what you have there.
Yep.
If I'm familiar, if I think it's the grant that you have, it's for, there's no match to it, up to 50%.
Yep.
So there will be a 50% match. We've already made the appropriation, so yeah, I think it's something we could probably apply for.
Well, definitely, I mean, the town's bought into it already, so you know that they would have no problem with the 50%. I just hate to say, okay, the town's already voted to spend that money, and we don't really need to apply for a grant. It's kind of what happened up at Griffin's Dairy, so I think this would be a good thing. So I'll leave this with you if you want, you probably already have it anyway.
No, I would,
Okay.
if I,
March 30th.
I would
is the
like it.
deadline, though.
Okay. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you. Anything else? Old note? Okay. Town manager report?
I'm gonna leave you guys to your better senses.
Thank you, John. Okay,
I think the
public,
budget was
yeah, well, yeah,
pretty
sure.
you.
extensive. Unless you want me to go into more detail.
Next time.
No, yeah. Public comment. I would be remiss if I failed to wish Kenny Coyle a happy birthday.
Happy 27th birthday.
Yeah, right.
Please stop into Trukey's and wish Kenny Coyle a happy birthday this week.
Thank you.
He's 50.
Two.
Two. And thank you to our cameraman, Chris Prowl. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Go ahead.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.